So if you are just trying out Backup Exec, you can get a free trial from their website. The one they have now is Backup Exec 21. So I'll start downloading that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the licensing. So depending on your environment will be how you choose the licensing for your enterprise. They start with Bronze Edition, Silver Edition, Gold Edition. And for example, if you have one tape drive, you probably want to start with that. If you have 4 physical or virtual tape drives, you got to go with the Silver Edition. And then the gold one will allow you to do unlimited physical and virtual drives. So if you have the funds, I recommend you go with the gold edition. So our system now is a Windows Server 2019, and when you run the setup, it'll run a pre-installation checklist to see if you need anything, or if you're missing any software, it can install it for you. So we want to hit Backup Exec, not the agent. Accept the terms. We're going with a typical installation, which is I want to install a single Backup Exec server that will back up itself and a few other computers. So here we see the checklist. If we qualify, we're going to get some errors since this server is on DHCP, but typically you'll have a static IP, so you won't get the error, but we can ignore it. We'll also just continue next since we're doing a trial. We don't have an entitlement. You want to enter it here if you already purchased your licensing. We want to set our password. Typically this is the domain admin password that you use. It's a summary for what we're installing. It'll take a few minutes, so I'll pause and come back. So after about 15 minutes, it installed the SQL database and Backup Exec itself. So you'll need to do a reboot of the system. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we're back after reboot. And if you're going to be using this in an actual enterprise, there's a couple of things you want to do. First of all, you should look at this tab, and what you want to set up is to simplify disaster recovery. You want to export your encryption key. And these two things will allow you to create an ISO DVD, which you can use to recover if there's a disaster recovery. And what the encryption key will do is, in case you lose your backup exec server, you can simply import the encryption key, add your storage back on to the server, and it will allow you to read your backups. Otherwise, you'll never be able to recover those backups if you don't have that encryption key. So here's where you set a path to export it. I just exported it to C drive encryption, and it'll tell you successfully exported encryption key. And now typically I'll keep a copy of this not only on the local server but also on the cloud, on a bucket where I can just log in from anywhere and download it if I need to. So after you export that, you'll get a green check mark that you've done that. The other thing is creating the disaster recovery disk. So I'll usually do the first option. And you'll need ADK Windows Assessment Deployment Kit. Let's try this one for Server 2022. Should work. So I'm installing the ADK tools. Let's uncheck anything that we don't need. And we're going to leave deployment tools. So we also need to download PE add-on for ADK. Use the default. So after that's finished, we go back to backup exec, create disaster recovery disk, and it should allow you to continue. So you only need to do this with Server 2019. If you have Server 2016 or before, it'll automatically install the ADK tools for you. So here we would select the server that we want to create the DR for, but since we don't have anything, it's empty at the moment. And that will create the image for us. And that's it. Thanks for watching.